But lunar Sabbath people, they celebrate Shabbat one day on Tuesday, one day on Thursday.
Yeah. So you had a question. Yosef said in the private chat here, he said, formula in Deuteronomy: prophet, then exile, then repent. Failed to heed instructions of a prophet, then exile. What exactly does that mean? Does it? I think he's asking, like, because he goes on to mention the temple. Did the prophets instruct specifically of what they need to repent of, like a specific thing? If so, what prophet was raised that was not listened to during the destruction of the second temple? Do we need to heed to their specific instructions and return?
The notion of the prophet being raised before the destruction is not necessarily accurate. The prophet could be raised during the destruction or the possible destruction. For example, Isaiah came onto the scene to comfort the people when Israel was besieged by the northern king and the kingdom of Assyria. So it wasn't just a prophet telling people that, you know what, something bad's going to happen. It could be that something bad is happening, or in the case of Ezekiel, and even if you want to consider Daniel a prophet, it was when the exile already occurred. Ezekiel was a prophet in Babylon. So this isn't our first exile. This is technically our third exile. So all we have to see is how Israel repented in the past and was in some way reunified with God, and a new covenant was made with God, i.e. a new agreement for Israel to keep the commandments. That's what it means in Jeremiah 31, of him making a new agreement, a new covenant with Israel. Not like the first one that they broke, but a new covenant that they were going to hop on board in terms of keeping these commands. So the first exile was the Assyrian exile. The northern kingdom never repented, i.e. they were never redeemed. The second exile was the Babylonian exile. So in the beginning of Ezra and Nehemiah, we see Israel coming together and publicly repenting to in some way solidify the notion that God has in some way sealed their redemption. And he did. However, we screwed it up again. This is why Jeremiah 31 already expired. The notion of him making another covenant. Yeah, God made another covenant with us. We agreed to keep these laws again, and we screwed up again by inviting the Romans to occupy the land of Israel and eventually exiling us from our land. So the understanding is that God's going to make another covenant once Israel actually repents. The modern state of Israel is not a resurrection of biblical Israel. So that's how it works. Sin, exile, and redemption is the formula. Prophetic intervention appears in Deuteronomy chapter 18. Exile appears in Deuteronomy 27, 28, 29, Leviticus 26. And that also includes the portion of redemption that once we turn back to God, God's going to bring us back to our former glory.